Computing Machinery and Intelligence, the 1950 Prophecy, Can Machines Think? By Alan Turing. I propose to consider the question, can machines think? This should begin with definitions of the meaning of the terms machine and think. The definitions might be framed so as to reflect so far as possible the normal use of the words, but this attitude is dangerous. If the answer is to be sought in a statistical survey such as a Gallup poll, this is absurd. Instead of attempting such a definition, I shall replace the question by another, which is closely related to it and is expressed in relatively unambiguous words. The new form of the problem can be described in terms of a game, the imitation game. It is played with a man, a woman, and an interrogator. The interrogator stays in a room apart, and the object is to determine which is the man and which is the woman. He knows them only by labels X and Y. The interrogator is allowed to put questions to X and Y like, "Will X please tell me the length of his or her hair?" Now suppose X is actually the man. It is the man's object in the game to try and cause the interrogator to make the wrong identification. His answer might be, "My hair is shingled and the longest strands are about 9 inches long." In order that tones of voice may not help, the answers should be typewritten. The object of the game for the woman is to help the interrogator. The best strategy for her is probably to give truthful answers. She can add,
"I am the woman. Don't listen to him."
But it will avail nothing, as the man can make similar remarks. We now ask, what will happen when a machine takes the part of the man in this game? These questions replace our original, can machines think? As well as asking, what is the answer to this new form of the question? One may ask, is this new question a worthy one to investigate? This latter question we investigate without further ado, thereby cutting short an infinite regress. The new problem has the advantage of drawing a fairly sharp line between the physical and the intellectual capacities of a man. Even supposing we could produce a material indistinguishable from human skin, we should feel there was little point in trying to make a thinking machine more human by dressing it up in such artificial flesh. The form in which we have set the problem reflects this fact in the condition which prevents the interrogator from seeing or touching the other competitors or hearing their voices. Some other advantages of the proposed criterion may be shown up by specimen questions and answers. Question: please write me a sonnet on the subject of the Fourth Bridge. Answer: count me out on this one. I never could write poetry. Question: add 34,957 to 70,764. Answer: pause about 30 seconds and then give as answer. 105,621. The question and answer method seems to be suitable for introducing almost any one of the fields of human endeavor that we wish to include. We do not wish to penalize the machine for its inability to shine in beauty competitions, nor to penalize a man for losing in a race against an aeroplane. The conditions of our game make these disabilities irrelevant. The game may perhaps be criticized on the ground that the odds are weighted too heavily against the machine. If the man were to try and pretend to be the machine, he would be given away at once by slowness and inaccuracy in arithmetic. May not machines carry out something which ought to be described as thinking, but which is very different from what a man does? This objection is a very strong one, but at least we can say that if a machine can be constructed to play the imitation game satisfactorily, we need not be troubled by this objection. I believe that in about 50 years' time, it will be possible to program computers with a storage capacity of about 1 billion bits, to make them play the imitation game so well that an average interrogator will not have more than 70% chance of making the right identification after 5 minutes of questioning. The original question, can machines think? I believe to be too meaningless to deserve discussion. Nevertheless, I believe that at the end of the century, The use of words and general educated opinion will have altered so much that one will be able to speak of machines thinking without expecting to be contradicted. Instead of trying to produce a program to simulate the adult mind, why not rather try to produce one which simulates the child's? If this were then subjected to an appropriate course of education, one would obtain the adult brain. Presumably the child brain is something like a notebook, as one buys it from the stationers. Rather little mechanism and lots of blank sheets. Our hope is that there is so little mechanism in the child brain that something like it can be easily programmed. The amount of work in the education we can assume, as a first approximation, to be much the same as for the human child. We may hope that machines will eventually compete with men in all purely intellectual fields. But which are the best ones to start with? Even this is a difficult decision. Many people think that a very abstract activity, like the playing of chess, would be best. It can also be maintained that it is best to provide the machine with the best sense organs that money can buy, and then teach it to understand and speak English. This process could follow the normal teaching of a child. Things would be pointed out and named, etc. Again, I do not know what the right answer is, but I think both approaches should be tried. We can only see a short distance ahead, but we can see plenty there that needs to be done.